PTC follow-up interviews. We had a great race. We had 152 finishers. That's the best finish rate we've ever had, 74.5% finish rate. We had the highest DNFs, but that's because we also had the highest number of participants. Winner was Desi Wilson in 6:21.50. He was flying. And the winner, female, here's Blake. Here he is. And the female winner was Katie Hoover at 6:28, and she took 20 minutes off the female course record, which is unbelievable. So I trained with the girl that has had the course record, Jenny Alberts, and she said she would only run the race if her record got beat. And so after she was at the race, she actually co-sponsored all the burgers with me at the finish line. And she's like, well, I guess I got to come out and run it next time. We did have 4 unofficial finishers. They came in after the 13 hours cutoff. I think one was Charlotte, within like 30 seconds.
Yeah, she was like 50 seconds.
50 seconds after cutoff on that. And then we had Toon Tran had his 8th finish, and I had my 8th finish. So we now have the most finishes, me and him. And he wasn't going to run it next year. I'm like, dude, you're coming back. So it's just me and you at the top now. So and currently for 2025, there are 161 entries already. So raise your hand if you're already in the race next year. I saw a bunch of. I haven't even signed up. I got to get in. So, Blake, are you there with us? I think he's on mute. So, all right. So we're gonna stop. We'll start up in the top with Bruce. Bruce was our oldest finisher of all time. At 71 years old, he finished the race. Was this your first official attempt at PTC, Bruce?
I tried it 3 years ago when I was 68, and that was I made it to Weaver Park. That was the first time I had run that distance. I just started running when I was age 62. So yeah, that was pretty grueling just making it to there then. And I kind of did this one on a whim, knowing that if I got to mile 22, I'm just a couple blocks from home and I can easily bail out if I need to, or keep on going to Weaver, and then okay, I'll keep going. And that's about the time when I saw you come in, and I'm thinking, geez, I got another 20 miles to go. Jeff's already coming into the finish. There was mixed feelings on that.
Yeah. Well, I know the year you did 26 miles, that was just your goal. Your goal was to do the 26 miles. I don't think you were planning on going farther. And I think
I had it in my mind that I could. So
you got it done. And would you had a finish time of 12 hours 45 minutes. But you're not a stranger to this race. You've crewed it. You've been at aid stations. You've always been a part of it every year. Yeah. So, all right, Bruce, tell us a little bit about yourself. 2 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, I live in Clearwater, downtown. It was my son-in-law, Greg Caro, that got me interested in running. As we get older, noticed the muscle atrophy, and it's like I need to do something about this. And I had been biking, and he finally convinced me to start running. And I had a lot of problems with my knees hurting, things that people complain about. I can't do this because my knees are shot. Well, I went to physical therapists. They gave me some exercises. I fell in love with the foam roller, and just kept on going. And did a 5K, and then after a few years did a 10K, and I've done 3 half marathons, and I get to the podium every time. So I haven't had a lot of long distance running experience. The 26 miles for that first PTC, and then a year later I did a Revel Rockies marathon out in Colorado, which I sounded great. It's like, oh yeah, it's going to be a fast course going downhill. It's like you start at 10,500 feet and it drops 4,800 feet over the course, and it just killed my hips. That was pretty brutal. So I've only had those two 26-mile distances before doing PTC this year. So
Nice. Congrats. All right, then we're moving over to Stephanie Miller. If she looks dark, it's because she's at the visitor center of Frozen Head State Park in Tennessee, where they run the Barkley Marathon and the Barkley Fall Classic. Stephanie, you've run the race 4 times,
Yes.
I think. Your first one was 2014, and I didn't realize you won. You were the female winner in 2016 on that, which was awesome. You have a lot of races. I think. I don't know how many ultras you've done. It's because there were so many Stephanie Millers on there that they weren't all under one. I know your main one had 67 races on there, and you go all the way back to. I'm sure it might be farther than this, but Knights Trail 50K in 2000, 24 years ago. And you ran, and then I saw the next one was John Holmes in 2007, which is pretty incredible. All right. So I remember when I started running, Stephanie, like she would just blow past me. Like I would go out fast in the beginning. I remember Lake Baldwin 50K. I'd go out fast, and within like 3 hours, she passed me back up, and then she lapped me by like the 6 hours. And I was like, my goal was always to stay with Stephanie Miller. It's all right, Stephanie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
And now you blow past me. So see, it took you a little while to catch up.
I mean, you're still holding your own out there.
Well, I just turned 63. I am so grateful to still be running and running well for my age. I started about 30 years ago with just 5Ks, 10Ks. And I heard, I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I live in Clearwater now. And I heard that Harrisburg, Pennsylvania had a marathon, which I never knew of. You know, when I grew up there, I probably moved down here. I think it was about 18 or 19. And I thought, I want to go home to my hometown next year and run a marathon. And I mean, this is back before you could like Google training schedules and, you know, Garmin's and all that stuff. So someone suggested, you know, find a runners club. And I discovered West Florida Y Runners Club. And we used to meet down by the fountain. And there's a small core group that still does. And, you know, they taught me the ropes of how to run a marathon. And I went back to my hometown. I think I ran Harrisburg Marathon maybe 3 or 4 times and qualified for Boston there. So it took a lot of hard work because, as you know, Jeff, I'm like slow and steady. You know, I'm not like super fast, but I have that endurance. So, and I love quirky races. I love doing the R40R romp, whatever they called it, the Cross Florida 116 miler, you know, inaugural, Wickham Park, you know, it was kind of the only sort of like stage race that I've done. So I like sort of the quirky, unusual, really hot, or just crazy for whatever reason races. And I just love running. I like to run every day. And I'm really grateful that my body is healthy. So
I'll be doing home inspections in her neighborhood, and she'll roll up. She's like, I was wondering whose car this was with the Vermont 100 sticker on. I'm like, you always say that to me. So, all right. And then we got Charlotte. Charlotte, I was very impressed. I looked at your ultra sign up. You had 143 ultras on there. Like I was just rolling through. Like I was just trying to count how many PTC finishes you had, and it took me like 10 minutes just to go through all your ultra signups, and then we got on and we're looking at your belt buckles behind you, which is very, very impressive. You have a very impressive resume. And let's see, you have four PTC finishes. And if you don't know Charlotte always dresses up as the mascot for the race. So she was a possum this year. Trying to think what else you dressed up as in the year.
The raccoon, the squirrel, and the armadillo.
And the armadillo. Yep. And she was DFL this year. And what was your time? I thought
12:58:49.
holy moly. So I do have to say, like, we were, so I'm watching it. Did you watch the live stream at all?
I did. I went back to watch it. Yes.
So we're watching the live stream, and I keep showing my watch, and we can hear the bells ringing. And so we know someone's close, but they're ringing the bell when they're blocks away. And at the next avenue, so we're like, who is this? And we're like, who's coming in? Who's coming in? And then I'm like yelling at people, go out, whoever it is, go out and get him, bring him, bring him in because we're getting close. And then as soon as you hit the park, we're like, it's Charlotte. It's Charlotte. me and Luis were going crazy on that. So it was, I think you did it on purpose just to get the views up.
No, believe me. That thought crossed my mind, but towards the end, I was hanging on by a thread to get there and finish in time.
Yeah, I mean, all your times are pretty consistent with those times that you had. I think you had one that I think you dipped down into under 12 hours one of the years. I can't remember what year was that. So I was amazed. Did you ever run Javelina?
No, I haven't yet.
So that's what I'm all
Definitely
confused about, because if you know anything about Javelina, they all dress up in costumes, and
Yes.
I did not see Javelina on there on that. So all right, Charlotte, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am not local. I am actually in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I just had a friend recommend the race a couple years ago, and I ran 3 years in a row, 19, 20, and 21, and then I took off 2 years, and I came back this year. I missed it so much. And actually what got me back this year is I tried to do at least a marathon or ultra every month, and the fact that this was in August, it was an August date. It's kind of what got me down there, because I'm like, I need an August race, and look, there we go. And next year is in August too. So.
Is it August again next year?
It's August 30th next year. Yes.
That works out perfect.
Yeah. So this year makes 20 years of me running. Same as always, you start with the 5Ks, 10Ks, halves. Once I got into the marathon world, got sucked in, didn't turn back. And once I finished my 50 states, I started running the ultras. So I think this race was number 284. No, sorry, that was yesterday. 283. PTC was 283 marathons and ultras combined. It was ultra number 111. All of them except 4 have been in costume, and have run in 218 different costumes.
Oh my gosh.
Now did you run a marathon this weekend?
I did a 50.
I saw that on Facebook. I'm like, all right.
We need to see your closets.
Oh yeah. I have kept all my costumes. In fact, that's my project this weekend, is to kind of organize, and I had to get the vacuum bags because some of the costumes are pretty big, to shrink them down to get them.
So like next year, send us find a costume you already have of an animal you saw on the course this year, and send it down. So we're trying to petition for the pig next year.
Yeah, I do have 2 pig costumes, but one of them,
because there's a pig at mile 27 at someone's home right there.
Mm-hmm.
On that, all right. And then we got Scott. Is it Tavlin?
Yes.
All right. And I was sitting at the finish line, and I was talking to. We're on the live stream. I'm talking to your crew, and he's like, he's coming in, and then they're like. He's like, he's a DJ on the morning radio. Is it at 94.9?
Right.
And then you came in. You had so much energy when you came in. You finished in 11:07, which is impressive for your first PTC. I finished in 10:47, and then worked my way down. So we hope you keep running after this, because I know you also did an Ironman. Which Ironman did you do?
I did Ironman Florida last year.
Okay. Was that your first marathon?
That was my first triathlon.
Good deal. And then you did, so for the race, you did it kind of as a charity, right?
Yeah, so I really got into running in 2018. I ran my first half marathon with my dad. And then in 2020, my mom passed away, and I just used that as a way to like, all right, I need to give love into the world the same way my mom gave love into me. And so that was my first marathon. I mean, this was COVID times. And so I literally just went out to a random trail. I had my dad on a bike, my family waiting in the parking lot. But for a couple months, I just asked people, hey, would you help me raise some money to feed families throughout the Tampa Bay area? And that kicked really off my running journey because we raised like $10,000 for families that year. And then every year since then, I've tried to do something to raise the bar. So that was the first marathon. Last year was the Ironman. And then this year was the first ultra. And now we decided.
So next year is 100-mile.
That is what it's looking like, but I'm going to let people decide. I'm going to let people pick what my next challenge is because I love doing the process of like, what's possible. Because this was impossible at one point. I was like, how is this even doable? And now I look back and I'm like, well, we did it. So,
oh, I mean, it's crazy. Sitting at the finish line, people are coming through. They're like, oh, my longest run was 20 miles. I went and finished 46. And it's like, it's not, it's your mind. It's basically it's getting through it. So
it is major
right there. So that's why I love this race, because you see so many great stories of people that are like, that are finishing the race, and they basically they don't have an extensive running career. They just were like, we're gonna get it done, and they get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then we got Jordon. How do you say your last name, Jordon?
England, just like the country.
Just like
Yeah.
So you had an interesting story, but you ran PTC in 2023. You knocked some time off of that. I figured you might go a little bit slower because Jordon and Blake did the double. So they finished the race. They finished it this year in 9 hours and 44 minutes, which very impressive time, especially with the fact that then they turned around, they ran to back out the Tarpon, and then ran down to St. Pete. And what was your finishing time? What time did you guys finish down in St. Pete?
It was just over 25 hours.
25 hours on that. So, Jordon, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about that. Is Blake? I don't know, Blake. Are you? Yep, there he is. I don't know if you guys want to, you guys pretty much have identical ultra signups for PTC. I think you did it last year in 10:10. This year you did it in 9:44. Jordon, where are you from?
From Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. And Blake, are you Miami? Oh, hang on. We got to unmute you.
Oh, there we go.
I'm
from Maryland. I live in Miami now. I've been here about 5 years.
Oh, cool. All right. So tell us the story.
Jordon and I actually met last year at PTC. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was cool to do the double this year together amongst our other adventures.
Yep.
So who came up with the crazy idea?
I did.
Yeah, he pretty much volunteered me. I was like, all right, I'm in.
So how did it go?
It was really hard.
It was.
Yeah. So originally, I wasn't sure if Blake was going to come back out with me, because I know he was getting ready for a big marathon coming up. So we waited for about an hour at the finish line before we headed back out to really recover. But I'm glad he came out with me because that trail at night, I wasn't sure if it was going to be sketchy or not, but it worked out well.
Yeah, I mean, most of it is good. When you hit southern, when the southern part of the county, it can be.
Yeah,
I know on that. So, but most of the north part, the first 20 miles of that is pretty good on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you did you have crew out there with you on the back half?
Yeah, so we had Joe Miller come out and crew us. Craig Betts was with them as well.
Cool deal. I know I told you guys to text me when you were coming back through Dunedin. By the time I got home, I passed out by like 10 o'clock. And I never got a text. And I woke up the next morning, I'm like, yeah, it was probably good. I don't think I would have got out of bed. Go down the end of my street on that. So no, that is pretty impressive on that. So all right, now we're going to throw out some questions. Feel free, we can go around in order, or feel free to throw them out. So were you guys crewed or uncrewed?
I was uncrewed.
You were uncrewed the whole time, Bruce?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Carrying a
uncrewed.
9-pound pack. Yeah.
Charlotte, you uncrewed?
Correct. Yeah, uncrewed.
Yeah. How about you, Stephanie?
I was going to do it uncrewed. Tim has crewed for me in the past, but then I don't remember if it was on the Facebook page. You said something about how the heat gets so brutal. You said to somebody else, and I'm like, remembering back years ago, I'm like, yeah. So because it falls right before my birthday, and my daughter and son-in-law wanted to know what I wanted for my birthday, I'm like, how about the gift of your time? How about you coming through me for this race? So it was a new experience for them, and they did amazing. They were stellar, and I'm so glad I asked them.
There you go. How about you, Scott?
I was crewed. Heck yeah. I had my like, the whole time. I had friends meet me literally at every aid station. I needed to be crewed. They got me through that run. That heat started to kick my butt. And so friends were joining me to run parts with me, keep me iced down, keep me cool. So definitely crewed.
Jordon and Blake, did you guys run together the first part too?
Yeah, we did.
Did you guys have crew on the first half?
Not really. We pretty much just use the aid stations.
Yeah. The aid stations are pretty, and it's amazing how many pop-up aid stations we're starting to get every year. I don't know. I know there was 2 within like half a mile of each other before you hit downtown Clearwater with ice pops. So I went through one, they gave me an ice pop, and then half a mile later they gave me another ice pop. And I'm like, all right, I can do this. And they were so close. And then, there were some other ones along the way. So the main aid stations were great. And then the pop-up ones were just kind of bonuses on that. Yeah. How about low points? Did you guys have low points during a race? And where were you at?
I was about mile 8, and the shoe liner was really weird. I don't know if you could see this. The liner kept folding over inside my shoe like this. And so I'd have to stop and take it out, put it back in, and then I go about 150 yards and it would fold over again. So after about a half a dozen times of doing that, I took it out and then ran like that for a while. And then I decided, well, if I take the other one off and then flip them around and I put them upside down, then I'll still have the padding. And so that got me to mile 22, and I called my wife and asked her to bring me a pair of shoes.
Okay. How are the blisters?
No blisters.
Wow.
No blisters. I changed my socks, I don't know, probably half a dozen times.
All right. Stephanie, any low points?
I did. I want to say it was maybe the Clearwater area, where it opens up and it's pretty hot there. Kind of a touch of nausea. And, I told my daughter and son-in-law that I felt like I was going to be getting whiny soon. But then the next time I actually was feeling a little bit better. And I would say that was about it. I mean, after Weaver Park, I felt like it definitely got more challenging, and the last 10K was really hard. I don't know if it would just be a low point. It just was freaking hard.
I always love running through downtown Clearwater, and they have that 7-Eleven playing opera music.
Yes.
It was weird. Every single day they're playing opera music on there.
That was weird.
That's to keep the homeless away.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what they blasted at night.
Oh,
Yeah, I live close to
kidding.
there.
yeah. Bruce lives right there. He's a couple blocks away on that. Charlotte, any low points?
Yeah, mine was actually kind of early. I struggled. I'm not smart enough to test out my costumes and things like that. So the pack that I was wearing, I normally don't wear that one. It was kind of heavy. I wore it because it has 2 bottles. So that with the baby possums and everything, it was just hitting my stomach wrong. I couldn't get it comfortable, whether it was on my waistline or if I wanted on my hips. So I was really kind of struggling early, which scared me. But then started feeling a lot better. Normally I have a lot of energy and for some reason can really be strong at the end of a race. And I didn't have that this time. I guess again, the heat, but yeah, I was just early was really troublesome for me. So thank goodness I stuck with it and got through it.
I can't believe you had coverings over your shoes. I like that had to like throw. I don't know if that threw you off or. I mean,
The only thing is that when my mom makes those, and for some reason she made these a little too big, so I had some safety pins holding them up or make kind of trying to cinch them up. And this one safety pin kept on like getting loose and was every time I'd run and take a step, it would like scratch and hear the scratching noise. I had to stop like 4 or 5 times just to re-safety pin my shoes.
someone else was asking me, they're like, is she using like an ice bandana? Is that fur like getting soaked or what's the...
I did have an ice bandana and yeah, that fur was just hot. So please no furry animals anymore. No furry animals.
Scott, any low points?
The only low point was around mile 30 when it was just so hot and I saw my heart rate just skyrocket. And I was like, all right, let's take a little second to walk, get some ice all over my neck and my head and hydrate. And once I had that down of like every mile and a half, just a cool down session, I was able to keep it a little bit more under control. So that was really it.
Jordon, any low point? I mean, so the big question, and we'll hear from both of you, but when you're running together with somebody, your low points come at different times, and that's why I never have wanted to run with another person. Is I'm like, I feel like I'm going to hold them back when my low point is different from their low point. So how was your low? Did you have a low point on, let's say the main race, the first 46 miles?
Yeah, the lowest point on the first 46 was just the last like mile to 2 miles, because we were really trying to push the last bit to get a decent race time on ultra sign up. So we were just skyrocketing our cardio. So we came in the finish line pretty gassed.
Blake, how about your low point?
Yeah, the first half wasn't too bad, but knowing that we were going to go again was pretty defeating.
That is tough. So then, all right. So now the low point on the second 46 miles.
I think the fact that we were very underprepared. We ran out of salt and we didn't have food, so it was that was the toughest part. Is just trying to push through and find the energy.
Definitely.
Yeah, we were just trying to get it done. We were so hungry out there. That was probably the least I've ever ate at a race.
Did y'all have a burger at the finish line and then go back out before you went back out?
No, I had some pizza, but I threw it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
wasted calories.
Catherine, what was that restaurant called? The Italian restaurant?
Was that?
We had some pizza and pasta that my wife got us, and it was very good.
Was it on the trail?
It was near the finish line.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember the name? Yeah, she doesn't remember the name, but it was really good.
It wouldn't be bad advertisement on them. All right. So what was for you guys? What was the best aid station that if you were in a funk, pulled you out? Grabbed something good. Bruce? What was the best aid station for you out there?
Well, I got to tell you, when I got to mile 22 with all those ladies there, They surprised me with a cold sponge bath. I mean, you know, it's like the claws are going all over me, and then they're like coming up and down my legs, and it's like this feels pretty good right now. And but then yeah, I gotta give a shout out to the mile 13. They were really organized. They had a lot of stuff there. The Clever Ducks and KLR. Of course, I got ties to the KLR folks, and then the mile 42 and 30 folks running for Brews. I got a lot of friends there, and yeah, at 42, I had a little bottle of Fireball. And I had, when I got to mile 40, all of a sudden I had a renewed sense of energy. I started running again. So
there you go, Fireball. Who needs goo or
yeah. So it's hard to pick out any one station because every one of them I depended on completely. I mean, I hit every one of them and the pop-up ones. I mean, there was a cooler by the Dunedin Golf course.
That cooler is there. We don't know who does it. It's there every year with frozen water.
That's my favorite. Get a frozen water bottle that I can carry with me, and it helps cool down, and I can pour some on my wrist or my neck and just suck on it. Yeah, it was great like that. And there was two other women that at different places like that had water bottles. So yeah, but everyone was important to me.
Yeah, that's why I love the community getting involved in that race more and more every year. It's kind of cool. Stephanie, favorite aid station or some aid station that brought you out of a funk?
Well, I really utilized them only till about mile 20, and that's when my daughter and son-in-law came over from Dover and started. But KLR, because I run with some of those people, and so there's nothing like seeing your folks, cheering you on and fist bumping and all that to, just give me that little bit of energy boost. And I would say like the popsicles, the little pop-ups that had the popsicles, but all of the aid stations, even though I ran by them, once I was a crude runner, just the way they would cheer and, ask if I needed anything, they were all just so supportive. Yeah.
Charlotte, how about you?
Yeah, they were all awesome. And again, that's kind of why I wasn't too scared about going in this uncrewed, just because I knew the quality and, they're just spaced out great. Even having the one at mile 4 this time instead of having to wait till mile 8, that was great. I felt bad because, of course, I'm kind of known for hanging out at the Running for Brews and partaking of the Fireball. But I actually declined both times this time because I was so worried about the clock and I was chasing the cutoffs. And so I'm like, I'm so sorry, y'all. I can't stop and do Fireball. I've got to get going. But they delivered it to me at the finish line. So
there you go.
I made up for it then. But yeah, they were all amazing. Everybody was great.
How about you, Scott?
I have to say that last aid station at the turnaround in Tarpon Springs, it was everything you needed at a turnaround. The music was pumping. The people were so energetic. And at that point, I was hurting. I was in the hurt locker. And like, chugged some pickle juice, got some candy, and they had everything I needed to say, all right, 10 more, like, let's go finish this thing. So their energy brought me back to life at that turnaround.
How about you, Jordon?
Mine's definitely Matt's. I know Matt fairly well, so as soon as I got to him, he was right there on me, giving me everything I need, cooling me down. So he's a ultra runner as well, so he knows exactly what you need. So yeah, it was awesome there.
Yeah, I'm changing out my shoes on my way out to Tarpon, and I'm tying my shoes, and he's just soaking me with water. It's like trying to put your shoes on in a waterfall. But at the point, that's what I needed, and that's right where I was in my funk, and I bounced out of it on that.
For sure.
Blake, how about you? Favorite aid station?
Yeah, that was the most memorable. Was Matt giving me the sponge bath, and then the turnaround point too. Just the music and the energy there was really cool.
Did anybody drink a beer at the turnaround?
Joe gave me a couple sips of his beer, and that was really good.
That's a good deal on that. How did you guys deal with the heat out there? What was your method for dealing with the heat out there, Bruce?
Well, yeah, I brought a 3-liter water bladder that I kept filled with ice water, and I could put some on my wrists if I needed to. Yeah, at the aid stations, I'd refill with ice. They'd cool me down. But I think I was better prepared this time than I was that time I did it 3 years ago, because when Stephanie mentioned going through downtown Clearwater, yeah, that hit me really bad, and I was prepared for it this time. But I also was out in June. I was out in the Grand Canyon, and it was 110 degrees out there, and we hiked down to the bottom of the canyon and back, and that was 18 miles and change, 9,600 feet elevation change. And that was another 12-hour day. And that prepared me for this one here. So I felt like I handled the heat okay.
How are you, Stephanie?
That's really why I had my daughter and son-in-law come out, was just for the ice, really. Because I basically do gels and maybe some potato chips. Because of the heat, I can't really put food in. It just has to be something that's easy for my system to process. So they gave me baggies of ice. I stuck in my sports bra and under my hat baggies of ice just every time I saw them, and that was my saving grace. And just kind of watching my heart rate, excuse me, to make sure, I wasn't pushing too hard in the beginning.
Oh yeah. I'm the same way. Like when it's hot out, I can't eat. So I know I got to eat at mile 13 at that aid station. I got to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich down, because I know I can't do it later on.
Right.
No. Charlotte, with that costume on, how did you deal with it?
I don't feel like I have a right to comment here because I brought that on myself. But I'll tell you one thing I did do. So I heard somebody talk about this early in the race, is when you got close to the McDonald's, as I'm going up the ramp, I got out my McDonald's app and ordered a cheeseburger and a large Coke. And so as soon as I got over the bridge, I just walked in there, had a nice bathroom, had me a nice hot cheeseburger and a big old Coke. So
that was the one on East Bay, right? Early in the race.
Because
there's 2 McDonald's you go past.
It's the one where there was the aid station. I think the F45 aid station.
Yeah, that's the one down in Largo.
Yeah.
Good.
So that Coke really helped.
We're going to put that on the sheet next year. Is put the app on your phone, order a cheeseburger and a tall Coke, and go in and use the bathroom. Scott, how'd you deal with the heat?
So it started kicking my butt around, mile 30, and I just started getting those towels, like those Antarctic cold towels, and I would just run till the next aid station, like the 3 miles, wrapped ice in my hat, and then like a frozen water bottle in my hand, and that helped so much. I was running with a friend's coach who was like, hold something cold to cool your interior. I was like, it helped tremendously. So once I had that cold towel wrapped and the ice, I was able to at least make it to the next aid station to switch them out to another frozen one. And once that was in, I was like, okay, we're gonna finish this thing, because that was my biggest fear. I was like, if I overheat,
that's where the crew comes in. They just keep switching that ice out.
Yeah, they were amazing. Yeah, the fresh ice towels, that was a game changer.
Jordon, how'd you deal with the heat?
Pretty well. I do okay in heat as long as I hydrate well, but typically if I start overheating, ice is typically a classic thing, but I actually learned from Matt. He told me to hold on to ice in your hands. They say if you cool your hands off first, that's like the number one response to lower your body temperature.
Oh, definitely.
So now I'll just grab chunks of ice and just hold on to them while I'm running. So that definitely helps for me.
How about you, Blake?
Yeah, I think that's the key, is just to grab a big bag of ice and try to fill it up at each aid station. Put it on your neck and just hold it in your hands.
Good deal. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. And one last question: what do you have coming up next? You got any races coming up? Any challenges coming up? Anything coming up? How about you, Bruce?
October 6th, I've got a marathon scheduled up in Quebec.
Wow, that would be cool. Good deal.
It'll be pretty.
Yep. I
Out in
think
the
I know what
country,
yours is.
up in the
Stephanie, but
Laurentians.
what do you have next?
Barkley Fall Classic is next on the 21st. And I would just like to, it actually is supposedly a 50K, which they say is longer. And there's a decision point where you can opt to attempt to finish the 26 miler, which is actually really further than that. So I'm hoping to get the marathon finish this year. I missed it last year by under 3 minutes. So
Really?
fingers crossed, yes.
Is Tim doing it too, or just you?
Yes, he is. And he did finish the marathon last year. I mean, it's insane. I can't even describe how crazy it is. It's like one loop of the Barclays Marathon.
Yeah.
It's one loop. So you have the insane, inclines and declines, rat jaw, where you're going through the briars, and you climb the wall at the prison and go under the tunnel, and it's nuts. Yeah.
What's the time limit for the marathon?
It's for the whole thing, 13:20.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how hard it is.
Well, Charlotte, I know you already did a marathon after in between now. What do you have coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so it was a 9-hour race. 9 hours, a 9-hour, 11-minute race in honor of 9/11. So I think I got in 34 miles. I had the Yeti 100 in 2.5 weeks. And then I'm counting down to my 300th marathon is going to be end of February. It's here in my hometown in Wilmington, North Carolina. So yeah, I have them pretty much at least 3 a month until the end of February, trying to get to number 300. And all of those are ultras except for maybe 2 of them.
Wow. Are you trying to do the 50 states, 50 marathons?
Oh yeah, I've did that. I finished that in 2018. I'm kind of, I don't want to put this out on the interwebs because then somebody's going to hold it to them. So my next goal, I'm kind of trying to do the math to see if I can do the 100/100s club. I'm at 30 now, and that took me 5 years.
I try and do the math on it. I'm like, because
Yeah.
that is a long-term goal. I'm like,
I would have to take advantage of all the 48-hour races to finish up, but
well, that's what who's the Jester guy?
Ed, yeah.
He was up at 6 days in the dome, and he kept entering the 6-day. He entered the they had a 10-day race. Mm-hmm. So he would finish 100 miles, then start another 100 miles, then start another 100 miles. on that. So I think I'm at 12. So I'm 88 to go. So are you, Scott? We're trying to
It'll inspire me. This is awesome to see. I'm somebody that loves, and I preach about that, have something scheduled out before you actually complete the next thing. This is the first time though, where I'm like, look, I didn't even know how I was going to feel at this point. Today was my first day running since the actual race. And so now I'm actually just going to ask, on my show, on my pages, I'm going to let my followers and friends decide what the next thing is. Cause up until now, this was the craziest thing I've done.
Did they choose PTC for you, or did you find PTC?
No, a friend sent it to me. They're like, yo, we should do this together. And sadly, COVID, and he was sick for 10 weeks. And so he had to drop out. But I was like, well, dude, I'm doing it. Let's rock. So I'm hoping somebody drops something in my comments or my DMs that's like, hey, you got to try this. I'm like, all right, let's raise the bar.
How are you, Jordon? What do you have next?
So right now it's Bulldog Track 24.
Are you doing the 24?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. But I'm thinking about squeezing a 100-miler maybe beginning of October. Trying to look for one. There's really none in Florida that I can find. So there's one up in Virginia I might do.
That's good. Yeah, I'm on the fence on the 24-hour for Bulldog.
Yeah.
It's a good lineup going out there. I'm like, I gotta get
There,
into
yeah,
that thing.
there's some monsters coming out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Blake, how about you? What do you got next?
Berlin Marathon in 3 weeks.
Nice.
And then the Panama City Ironman, November 2nd.
Talk to Scott. He'll show you.
Hey,
I'm actually going to start swimming tomorrow. So start my training.
That's cool. That's cool.
Jordon just brought up the Coast to Coast 250. I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze that in this year, but maybe.
What is the Coast to Coast 250?
Jordon?
So it's only 88% complete right now, but it's a bike trail, the Coast to Coast Trail.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it ends on Pinellas Trail.
Yeah, we're all waiting for that. I think a lot of us are waiting for that to get completed so we start putting up KTs.
For sure.
Right now we got the Cross Florida 200 FKT. A lot of us are going after on that. So, perfect. So, well, thank you guys. I was trying to keep it quick.
well, thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, there's a lot of running in this group. So,
and Jeff, did you mention that Bruce is the oldest finisher to date of Pinellas Trail Challenge?
I did, but we'll mention it again at 71 years old.
Yes.
That's
I didn't know about that either until a couple days afterwards.
That's awesome. That is
Congratulations to all you guys. Oh my gosh, everybody.
Well, lots of impressive stories here I've heard tonight.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I was impressed when I started looking up people's stuff. I'm like, wow. So it was great. So, all right, thank you guys. I'm gonna stop.